All right, everyone, welcome to the online Masters in Sport Management Roundtable. We are going to give everybody a couple of minutes to get logged in here, and then we will get to talking to our panelists. Once again, we will start speaking and going over everything at 6:02 Central Time. All right, once again, welcome. My name is Jeremiah, and this is the online roundtable for the Masters in Sport Management Program. Before we get started, just a little housekeeping so everyone's aware. We are going to do things a little differently tonight than a standard webinar. So what we're going to do is, if you have logged in, we're going to give you a chance to participate. I will be shifting it so that you will be labeled as a panelist. From that point forward, you are welcome to share your video, and you are welcome to ask questions and participate in the conversation. We will very much so open everything up to all of our panelists for a Q&A as we kind of go through. But as we kind of go through that, I'm going to do here, share my screen very quickly. And Bryson, if you would like to take us through some of the introductions. I can start by introducing myself. My name's Jeremiah. I am an advisor on this program. I do have some experience in the fitness industry. I previously managed a large fitness center in the Chicago suburbs. But I've been working on this program for just over 2 years now. It's one of my favorite programs to work with because the students are so engaged in the program and just really kind of bring a lot of enthusiasm to the program.
All right, and my name is Bryson Brownlee. I'm an advisor with the program as well. I've been here for about 10 months now. I have a sports background as well. I played college football, and I've also trained young up-and-coming athletes in sports performance and fitness training as well, just a little bit. So really love getting to know students, current students and prospective students, and helping them tap into their passion in sports as well. And with us today, we have 2 students, current students, and 1 alumni. One of the first student is Taylor Ashford, Ian Langberg, and our alumni is Maggie Bowen. Maggie is the director of volleyball operations at Kansas. And Ian, he works on football operations and is a marketing associate for the Institute for Athletes. And Taylor, he works for the Atlanta Hawks as well as the College Park Skyhawks in Atlanta. And with us today, we also have 2 members of our faculty, Dr. Jordan Bass. He is our associate department chair, the sport management program director, as well as an associate professor. And we also have Brian Gordon. He is our an associate professor in the health, sport, and exercise sciences program.
All right, as I mentioned, I did make everybody panelists now. So thank you all for logging in. we're going to be excited to answer your questions about the program. But first, kind of as we get moving, I'd like to introduce Jordan Bass. Jordan, I know you are very hands-on with the program, and that there's a lot that you have, a lot of knowledge as well as a lot of hands-on experience with the program. In your mind, what is something that kind of sets this program apart, and what are you most proud of with the program?
Oh, thanks, Jeremiah. Thanks, everybody, for being here. This is my 9th year here at KU. I'm a Jayhawk through and through. I grew up coming to KU. My grandparents lived just off campus, and so I have an immense amount of pride in this program and this online master's degree. My favorite part is being able to have students from all across the country and all across the world in our program. So as you'll get to hear from some of our alums today, a lot of them are out there doing really exciting things, and some of them were doing those positions when they started with us and have used their education here as they've moved through their programs, and others, were just trying to break into sport as they started our program and have used that training here to get into really exciting positions. So for me, my favorite part is just interacting with our students that we wouldn't get to see if we didn't have this online program, that we're all across the country, and we get to hear their stories, hear why they want to be a Jayhawk, why they want to be in sports. And to me, that's been the most satisfying, exciting thing. And then just new initiatives we get to have, study abroad programs, special topics classes, our mentorship program, ways that we're able to, I think, differentiate ourselves from other online master's degrees and other master's programs in the industry. And we're able to do that because of the great resources we have here at KU. So excited to chat with everybody tonight and happy to answer any questions, but I'd certainly rely on our alums and our students here to do the heavy lifting with all the great questions that I'm sure you're going to have for them.
Perfect. And Brian, with you being faculty on the program, what's your favorite part about working with this program, and what are some things that, just kind of off the top, that you'd like for students to know as they kind of look at the potential for entering the program?
Yeah, I think first of all, thanks, Jeremiah. Thanks, everyone. Really happy to be here. And the number one thing is working with the students. So like Jordan indicated, they're coming from different backgrounds. Some are trying to break into sports, some are trying to move up in the sport industry, and just seeing them apply what they're doing into the classroom and some of the discussions, and just getting to know them and their backgrounds has been really fulfilling. And then since the program's a couple of years old now, seeing some of our alums work their way up and get some just amazing jobs in the industry is really fulfilling to see. I'd also say, something that sets the program apart, and Dr. Bass just really spearheaded this, is this alumni mentoring program that we have. So just to share one quick story about the mentoring program, one of the students, I did an assignment in the course to kind of get to know your alumni mentor, and one of the students, who was from Maryland, connected with his mentor, has stayed in contact, and he had sent me a note just saying, I'm so proud to be a Jayhawk, and to have that connection and to build out that network we have of alumni, some of which are here tonight, is something that we're really, really proud of. But for me, it just all comes back to the students and trying to just help them achieve their professional goals.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Brian and Jordan. And wanted to hear from our students as well that are currently in the program, Ian and Taylor. We'll start with Ian. Just tell us a little bit about the program, what you like about it so far, and kind of how it will help you with your future. What are your thoughts?
So I'll echo some of the things that the faculty said probably, but one of the things I think sets it apart is that you're getting interaction with some of the other students who are from all over the country in different backgrounds and different roles. Right away, it was like you would be in a group with another student, and you're talking to somebody who's working for this organization, or somebody who's just trying to break into the industry, and there's all kinds of backgrounds that come together there. I think the program does a really good job of, yes, it's asynchronous and you're kind of doing it on your own, but getting you real interactions with some of your classmates, despite being physically separate all over the country. We have Zoom discussions where you're, getting onto calls with other students, and as well as other discussions, and that's been a great piece. Just touching on the mentorship aspect of things. So I work for a sports agency right now, and it was right as some of the name, image, and likeness stuff was coming into the fold. And my mentor was an athletic director, and it wasn't even what the subject of what we were talking about was, but we made a really good connection on kind of being on two different sides of that issue and able to talk through that. So the network that's available, I think, is crazy and has been really great to see. That's probably been my favorite part.
Yeah, just to echo a little bit of what Ian's saying, prior to this program, I had never taken an online class. So that was a big change. I was looking into the program, a friend had suggested to me, and I always saw myself as an on-campus learner. And once I saw the program was on campus, I had to kind of do some thinking and weigh my options. But I think the flexibility of being online was a kind of a confidence boost, because it let me, still be able to look for jobs and, still have a life while in this program. And then, I started right before COVID hit. So, it kind of was, it worked out for me in the sense that, I had time to kind of key in on what I wanted to do. But when the mentorship piece came down the pipeline to me, it was a big thing, because, you get mentors that work in fields similar to what you've done and what you want to do. But also, my mentor was real easy to work with. She gave me sample interview questions and let me look at her resume. And, she was always there to give me advice. Like if I had questions, she never made me feel like anything was too big, too small, or there was a dumb question. Like, she was just there for me, and still is, still very supportive of everything I got going on. And also I would say just, the professors are real, I won't say real flexible, but they also understand what it is being a full-time student, trying to get into this industry or trying to grow as a professional in this industry, and also doing other things at the same time. So like Ian was saying, just being on Zoom, I was just on Zoom last weekend with 3 of my classmates working on discussion board posts. And you get that in every class. You're gonna at least see your classmates face to face, a few of them, once or twice during each class. So it doesn't make you feel like you're far away. It doesn't make me feel like I'm in Atlanta or I'm in Kansas City or wherever I'm, at. I've been in multiple places throughout this program. So that's been, really good for me too. But a lot of flexibility, and it's a real tight network. I still text people that I got on Zoom with maybe one time, just we've been real supportive of each other throughout the whole process. So that's been dope.
For that, guys. And Maggie, as an alum of the program, what were some of your favorite parts that you can remember, and how has it helped you in your career so far?
The first biggest takeaway is the networking aspect that everyone's been touching on. My time through the program, throughout the classes, I connected with another lady and different people in the department that I work in at KU. And so it was cool to just check in with them and see their side of things. Something else that I thought was pretty neat was just seeing the other side of sport that I wasn't ingrained to. So I'm familiar with high school sports. I'm familiar with college athletics. But anytime we got to learn about the professional scene was interesting to me, because I haven't had any experience in that. And then also just the sense of accomplishment when you're done with the degree. People don't really touch on it that much, but the hardware is nice at the end. So.
Perfect. And yeah, it is nice to have that hardware. And I know we have 3 potential student people looking into the program, logging in. I don't know. Are you on, Hannah? Are you on? Oh, Hannah and I have been talking every day for the past couple of weeks, and Hannah got some big news today. But Maddie and Andrew as well, if you would like to log on and introduce yourself really quickly. Oh, Hannah, are you there?
Let's see here.
We can hear you, Hannah.
Yes, it's just not giving me the option to turn my mic and everything on. Hi.
Hi, welcome. Would you like to introduce yourself and kind of say why I mentioned you got some big news today?
Well, my name is Hannah. I live in Lenexa, Kansas, and I just got accepted into the program today. Thank you.
Congratulations. And like I
Thank
said,
you.
we've been going through it, but we've been having some updates to some software and stuff, and Hannah's
Yeah.
been a trooper throughout.
Jeremiah might have been more excited than anybody else. He might have been more excited than you, Hannah. Seriously, he let everybody know. So that's how it is, though. We're all excited.
Yeah, we're very excited to have you in the program. And Andrew, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Andrew Plunkett. I'm a second-year law student at the University of Arkansas. I've been a huge KU fan my whole life. One of my dad's best friends from grad school, actually, his name is Brad Noctegal. He works at Kansas. They got their masters together, and he's been taking me to KU basketball games my whole life. And since I've been in law school, I've really become interested in the intersection of sports and the law, and kind of how that sort of seems to lead me towards working compliance. Hopefully, of course. I mean, I'm just speculating right now. I'm just trying to pass my law school test right now. But I'm genuinely interested in the master's program. I've emailed back and forth with Dr. Bass, and I've talked to Bryson on the phone, and I'm very happy to be in this webinar tonight. So
Perfect. And Maddie?
Hi, everybody. My name's Maddie. I'm currently a senior at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. My undergraduate degree will be in athletic training, but guess I'm just kind of putting feelers out there. I don't really know if I want to stay on the medical side of sports, so I would really love to do like operations or maybe like player development. I'm not really sure entirely, but something maybe not in the medical side of sports. So I guess just kind of like putting feelers out there to kind of see what's out there.
Perfect. And it's nice to meet all of you. And I'm sure you guys all have questions. That's one of the reasons why we're doing this, is to get kind of questions that students have for faculty, questions that students have for an alumni or current students. So let's have it. Who's got a question first?
ladies
Oh,
first.
we're all shy.
Yeah,
There you
ladies
go.
first.
Well, I have questions. I have questions. I love learning stuff, so I have questions, and I can just start by asking some questions, and then you all can jump in. So not everybody was logged on at this point in time, but before we started the webinar, Ian and Jordan were talking about the Study Away program. And Ian, since I know that it's something that you were super excited about, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you have going on early next year?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start at the beginning. The opportunity came across, and Dr. Bass and some of the faculty were talking about doing this Study Away program, which will basically knock out one of the credits that are one of the classes, I guess, that we need to graduate. And it's a week in Maui in Hawaii, where we'll be working alongside the Tournament Champions tournament down there, which is a PGA golf tournament. Dr. Bass can probably fill you in more on exactly what we'll be doing, but for me, it was a really good opportunity because it was a class in 2 weeks and an experience that gives great experience in the industry and opportunity to meet some of our classmates, because the rest of the time we are virtual and online. That only goes so far. So those are some of the things that really excited me about it. I'll just give a little insight here too. Since everybody kind of is doing stuff outside of the program, it's meant to be done outside of a job or doing other stuff like that because it's online. I emailed Dr. Bass and was like, I may have to, work a little bit on the trip, and him and the other faculty were super flexible about that. So they really wanted us on this trip, and I'm very excited for the opportunity of a lifetime, I feel like.
And I do know, Taylor, you're planning on going as well, correct?
Yeah, I'll be out there too, man. I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah. What has you excited about going? I mean, other than, I mean, Hawaii kind of, I'm excited for you, but what's got you excited for the trip other than it just being in Hawaii?
Man, just really the opportunity to get some real like experience, man. Like PGA is really prestigious to me. You know, being the top golfing league. I'm not really, you know, I don't really have any experience working in golf or too much about golf. So just that ability to learn, add something else to my resume, but really be in it for 2 weeks, you know, so you getting the full on experience. Like, and my, you know, even my employer now, like they're super excited for me to go out there, like, so I can bring back that knowledge back to my job currently. So it works great all the way around for me personally.
Dr. Bass, anything to share about the program? Anything as far as what you're hoping students get out of? I know you guys had previously gone to New Zealand, but that's with international travel, that's not really an option. But what is most exciting for having students go through something like that?
Yeah, I love study abroad. We've done trips to Europe, New Zealand, and now we're going to go to Hawaii. And I'm a big believer, especially in sports, of trying to avoid academic tourism. So just going to hang out for 10 days and take a couple tours that anybody could take. And so when I was looking for places to go that I felt safe that we'd be able to actually travel to, with the unknowns around COVID, I was looking at tournaments and ideas, and just reached out to the person who runs this Tournament of Champions in Hawaii. So if you win during this calendar year as a golfer, you get invited to this big time tournament, basically, where it's all the winners from the previous year. And they play, it's a no cut event, and it's on this huge piece of land where you have to bus between holes, and it's this 4-day tournament. And I reached out to PGA Tour and said, I have a lot of great Jayhawks that would love to help and get real world experience, from communications to course setup to hospitality to merchandise. And what would you think about partnering with us? And that was probably a couple month conversation, but we're really excited to work with the PGA Tour and put on this big event. And then we'll also spend a day and fly to Honolulu and go see Pearl Harbor and other sporting attractions there. We'll work with some of the water sports there. We'll do a sailing trip, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be hard work, from probably sun up to sundown, getting that tournament ready to go. And then as you work in sports, as Maggie can attest to, and Taylor and Ian, when you're working in sports, your work's done before the fun stuff happens. So we'll put in a lot of work, and then once the tournament gets going, probably get to have some fun as well. But I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a great opportunity. We're taking 28 people total, which it'll be awesome. Have represent Jayhawks out there and really get to see a different side of sports. And one thing great about golf is you get to do all different areas in one space, from event management to hospitality to marketing to sales, all in one space. So it's gonna be a great trip, and something I'm glad a lot of our online master students have taken the opportunity to. When we went to New Zealand, we had, I think, 4 or 5 students on that trip from our online program. So seeing that grow has been great.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's a great networking opportunity as well for students within one another. All right.
I was going to ask a question about the manner of instruction. I understand that it's going to be online, but will these be a sort of like a live lecture, some pre-recorded stuff, like a hybrid of both? I was very curious about that.
Yeah, it's a good question, Andrew. So for my classes, I think this is pretty standard. Brian can speak to his as well. You can kind of do it on your own time, with the opportunity to do some live work as well. So when I would teach a class, I'd record the lecture and say it's up there whenever you want to watch it. But Wednesday at noon, I'm going to hop on Zoom. And if you want to learn how to use Adobe Spark for this assignment, we can chat about it and do it that way. And so at least a few times a semester, I'll have an option for students to come live. But if you're working 9 to 5 and I can't do that, and you can only do it in your time on the weekends or at night, we leave that option open for everybody. So we try to do it both ways, but Brian can speak to what he does as well.
Yeah, it's also asynchronous for me as well. Any kind of lecture or lecture content I put up is intentionally short, no more than 10 or 15 minutes. I've learned through another online program that I built before I came to Kansas. I used to track how often students viewed my lectures, especially when they were longer than 15 or 30 minutes, and they would rather see kind of the static PowerPoint lectures as opposed to sitting there and listening to 60-minute lectures. So I've gone to very much brevity, no more than 15 minutes, and then always have the opportunity to connect with students if there's something they don't understand or want to learn more about. So, but one thing I like is the messiness of people's lives, working in sports, having families, some of them do, in the stages they're in. So it's really all about trying to be adaptable and flexible to student schedules and really trying to meet them where they're at with the course content.
Thank you both. I appreciate it. I guess I'll go ahead and ask another question. I was talking to Bryson on the phone, and sort of to your point, Dr. Gordon, about the self-paced thing. You can do it in 2 years, or you can stretch it out. Is that, I mean, what's the, I'm sure it's there may not be an average, but I mean, what does the average student do? Is the average student getting it done in 2 years? Is the average student doing 2 years and some change, or?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jordan, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. Jeremiah or Bryson, you will have actual data on this. I can just tell you anecdotally what I've seen. I'd say it's between 18 months. So some students will, once they get going, they get more comfortable in the online space. They'll take a couple extra classes one semester so they can finish the semester early. Taylor, I'm right. You're doing that, right? You're finishing the semester early. So we have students who are doing that. And then other students will just take one class a semester and they'll stretch it out over a longer time. So I'd say 18 to 30. Yeah, something in there, a year and a half to 2.5. But I'd say most are in that kind of 2 year time frame. But I don't know, there's probably actually real data Jeremiah has.
Yeah, I don't have real data. I have kind of your options. So if you're taking one course at a time through the whole program, it ends up being 2 years. If you really want to draw it out, things happen. In order to maintain enrollment requirements, you need to be in one course. You can't miss more than a year consecutively, but from start to finish, you have 7 years to finish the program. So also, please don't take 7 years. It's a very long time. But like it is, it's not like a cohort situation where if you miss a course, you're going to be off pace or something. You can work with their student success coordinator, which you would be assigned when you started, to make sure that you knew the repercussions of taking time off if that was something you had to do. Well, I'm not shy. I have more questions to ask. So as I know, Ian and Taylor, you guys have both been in contact with, I think Maggie, you may have missed it a bit, but the mentorship program. Do you mind kind of speaking to kind of, not necessarily by name, but who your mentor is and what type of feedback you've received from them? We'll start with Ian, just because he's at the top of my screen.
Yeah. So the mentorship program is great. What happens is you get paired with someone, and generally that mentor has three or so people. As I mentioned before, my mentor is an athletic director at a smaller school in Kansas. And really my experience was like, they're there to like show you an area of the sports world basically, and things that are opportunities for you. And the best part of it to me was learning about his career path. He had been kind of working his way up at a bigger school and then decided, well, I think I would rather have less of the pressures that would come along with that, and more of, some of the individual relationships that could come from going to a smaller school, and just learning how people make decisions within the industry. As somebody who's newly starting out within the industry, was one of the best things for me. It was just like a conversation about how people got to that point, and then sticking with that person and kind of helping them along your journey in the industry.
And Taylor?
Yeah, my mentor works in a parks and recreation capacity. I would say some of the biggest things, and this might sound silly, but just kind of having those real conversations. Like, I had been away like from school. I graduated undergrad in 2013. like I had been away from school for 6 years, 7 years almost. So, you know, I was nervous. Like, you know, I had never really got that break into the industry prior to this program. So it was one of those things where I'm, you know, talking to my mentor, like, you know, is this going to pan out? Do you think it's worth it? It was a big, you know, when we were kind of looking at, I think me and my mentor connected like a few classes before like my internship. So, you know, I would be seeing different internships and just asking her like, do you think this seems too small or too silly, too basic? Like, you think this would be a good role? And she was just real supportive, just in everything I'd be asking her. Like, she was like, no, go for it. Like, apply. You know, if you apply for it, like, take that interview, talk to them. Like, here's sample questions. Like, if you want to do a mock interview, hang up and call me right back real quick, and we can pretend like I'm the person interviewing you. So it was just, I'd say like that support system was a lot, because, you know, I was, even though I was doing good in the program, you know, I still had second guessing, just like, you know, am I going to still cut it? Like, do you think I'm somebody that can make the cut in this industry? Or how do you, you know, just working with me, like, what do you think, you know, I should improve on? And, you know, my LinkedIn page, stuff like that. Like, what should I change? My resume, what should I change? Just things like that. So just total, just being able to just kind of be honest with somebody, you know, completely transparent, and them giving you honest feedback and supporting you throughout the whole process just was been the best part of it to me. And I look forward to helping somebody else down the line as a mentor if possible.
That's awesome. And Maggie, like I said, I don't know if you were in for the mentorship, but do you have any kind of anecdotes about, I know you're obviously, you work at KU, any type of networking that you were able to accomplish through the program and kind of garnering those types of relationships?
I was able to slip in the mentorship. I think it was my last semester. So I got 2 classes with my mentor. She was a former collegiate athlete at KU in the early 2000s. And then she also went through the sport management master's program, and she currently works for the LPGA. And I thought what was cool, I collaborated with her with the different projects I had for the classes. And she always had the lens of like the real world aspect. So she challenged me to go deeper, and me just being the student was just trying to just do the limits of what the assignment was. And she challenged me. And there was the accountability there of like, she had the real discussion, like she was my actual boss or like an actual coworker I was collaborating with. So she made it real and challenged me to go deeper and farther into the assignments. And it just showed a mature side of it, a professionalism side of it, of like, I need to actually take this real, because this is stuff I could use within my career and further down with what I want to do. So it was nice just having that accountability partner, and just knowing that we had some things in common with KU, and the master's program was nice.
And Brian and Jordan, I know you guys both teach courses within the program as well. Do you guys do things within your coursework to encourage interaction with students' mentors?
Yeah, actually, real quick before we get off that, Taylor, just so you talked about, you know, we worrying about making it in the field. Maybe just walk the people that are here through like the last 6 months for you with your job opportunities you've had, and it's been quite impressive and fun for me to watch and be proud of from afar. So maybe just walk through from the last few months what you've been up to.
Yeah, it's been crazy. So 6 months ago, I was working in an alternative school in Kansas City. I was JV basketball coach at a school in Kansas City as well. When it became time to start looking for my internships, that's when I kind of, you know, started to feel real. Like just that point, you know, I didn't really have the internship I wanted in undergrad. So this was like a point of concern for me, honestly, you know, throughout the whole program, just was I gonna get a good internship. So, you know, working with my mentor, working through the program, Dr. Bass, everybody just kind of, you know, talking to people in the program. You know, I ended up getting 2 internships at one time, which was a blessing. They were 2 great internships. One was with MoCan basketball. I started that in April of this year. And then I started with the Royals at their Urban Youth Academy in June. And, this whole summer, man, I'm not gonna say it didn't feel like I wasn't in school anymore, but it felt like, I was really, making it my stride in the industry, which led to, at the end of my internship, I was like, oh, internship at the end, I should start looking for, real employment for the fall, and had a lot of interviews, had a lot of opportunities. Thought I was going to be a Denver Nugget. It was a Denver Nugget for about a week, and got an opportunity to work for the Atlanta Hawks and a community capacity, which was similar to the work I was doing with the Royals and similar to already my background I had in Parks and Rec. So it just ended up being a perfect mix of everything for me. But prior to this, like 6 months ago, even, I don't know if I had that confidence to, go out for roles that maybe I didn't think I was fit for. And, my mentor kind of helped me in the program too, kind of just helped me instill more confidence in myself and, really go out for a lot of opportunities that I might have discounted for myself previously. So now I've been with the Hawks for 2 months next week, and it's been a hell of a ride, man. I can't lie. It's been fun.
Yeah, thanks, Taylor. So Jeremiah, to go back to your original question. We have lots of assignments designed around the mentor. So when I teach sport fundraising, one of their assignments is to create a basically fundraising pitch and then pretend that their mentor is the donor that they would give that pitch to, and get feedback from them on how they would interact with them and what they could do better, and just kind of how they come off in that position. And so we really try to develop at least one assignment each course to where you are doing something that will at least spark a conversation with your mentor, get their professional feedback. And I think mentors like it, and the students seem to like it as well. And it gives us a way to really bring them in and develop some personal connections.
Yeah, to echo what Jordan said, in my sports sponsorship class, when the pandemic hit, it was right around the time that the class was going on. I put students in a scenario where one was the property, one was the sponsor, and because we weren't having live sporting events, they had to kind of repitch their sponsorship or corporate partnership agreements to their alumni mentor. So I gave them a deal that they could work off of, or they could find their own sponsorship deal and then rework it and basically try and make an argument for why that property was going to get equal value in that corporate partnership arrangement based on the assets they couldn't offer because there wasn't live attendance. One other thing I want to point out about the mentorship program, I can't talk enough about it. There's the official mentorship program, and then I would argue, based on our vast network of Jayhawks, there's also a very unofficial mentorship program that goes on. I can't tell you how many times students have reached out to me who might be targeting, a certain area in the country that they want to get a job, or hey, can I connect with somebody in corporate partnership? Can I connect with somebody in event management? Can I connect with somebody in marketing? And I'll connect them with Jayhawk alumni, and I can't say anybody's ever come back to me and said, no, they're not going to help me. Our alums, both in the formal program and ones that aren't in the program, seem to always be willing to help out other Jayhawks. And I was at a state school in Wisconsin, a D3 program before this, and I would say coming here, I underestimated two things about our program. One, just how vast of a reach it has in terms of diversity of alums in different positions. And then as a branding person, just the power of the Jayhawk and what doors that opens for people. So it's a pretty exciting thing to be a part of, both on my side of it, but then also on the student side as well.
Can I speak of that unofficial mentoring aspect real quick?
Certainly.
I know Dr. Bass in particular, man, I know there'd be points I'd be sending him a lot of emails, asking him a lot of questions and stuff, but just how easy everybody is to connect you with somebody else, and be resourceful is a thing that went a long way for me so far in this program. I'm asking Dr. Bass questions. He's like, well, let me introduce you to, Dr. Brown, or, Christopher Brown at the time, connected me with Chris, talked with him, and then he connected me with Paul Pierce II, and then he connected me with somebody else. The network just flowed, and it was real easy. And everybody, nobody was trying to withhold resources. Nobody was, you just kind of sometimes get a negative connotation when you think of the sports industry because it's so small and it's so competitive. But everybody here was just super helpful, showing love, giving out resources, like giving great advice. So that unofficial mentoring aspect too was big for me as well.
Yeah, and if I could point out that we have a recent alumni and 2 students in the program, and all y'all are working in sport currently. We had a webinar, I think it was earlier this year. Time doesn't really have a lot of meaning anymore. Where we had all students who were in the sport industry just kind of discussing the route of sport, and it was great because a lot of them already kind of knew each other. It was and just kind of having that. I'm obviously not in the program, but I see that as well. Let's see here. I'm gonna pick on somebody here. Maddie, I know you said you're looking into getting into operations in sport. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What's kind of your career goal?
So I guess like as an athletic training student at Nebraska, I get placed in like different clinical rotations. And so last year I was actually with the women's basketball program, and I really enjoyed like being there, and I got to travel with them. So once I got into looking at like kind of like the day-to-day operations that kind of go into that, that's kind of how I got interested in that, I guess. And then kind of some of like the community stuff that they do, I guess, too, was kind of interesting to me. So being able to like be a liaison between like a sports team and the community, and kind of that aspect too. So I guess like I don't exactly know what my like end goal is at this point in time, but that's kind of like why I became interested in that part, I guess, and kind of like the path that I'm leading to go towards right now.
Okay. Well, and I know, Maggie, you are obviously director of volleyball operations at KU. Is there anything looking at something like going into a master's in sport management or otherwise that Maddie could do to kind of help her kind of move towards something like that?
So when I entered the sport management master's program, I already was in my role as director of volleyball operations at KU. And so with that lens, as already in a career at KU and going through the program, I thought it was really awesome how each class touched on a different variety of the aspect of sports. So being in operations, you're basically on the coaching staff, but then you also are, like you said, the word liaison, you're that communication branch for the whole athletic department, fundraising, facilities, academic people. You could go on like the career student athlete development. So I'm that like communication barrier. If anyone in the department needs to talk to the coaches, they come to me first. And so what the master's program was cool is just getting that lens, that next side of like, this is what we're doing in facilities. And so now anytime I ask a request out of facilities, I kind of have an idea of their side of it, more of an understanding. The fundraising class was really interesting. So after I took the fundraising class, I brought it back to the coaching staff and I was like, we need to be more synced up with our fundraising department. Like we weren't being told like what was coming in for the volleyball program on a monthly basis. So it was just a really cool to get that touch of aspect of what goes into sport when I'm so siloed in volleyball every day. But operations is just really cool. And I'm excited that you have that goal for your career.
Maddie, more importantly, as a Nebraska native, I need you to get to the bottom of this football thing.
Trust me, we're trying.
See Maddie out there with pads on next Saturday.
Whatever we need.
Well, I'm currently working with the men's gymnastics team, so my football skills are probably not quite brushed up.
All right. And any other questions, Hannah? I know you got questions. Although we may have talked like
a lot,
maybe too much about the program, but you have two current students and alumni and 2 faculty members here. What kind of question do you have about the program?
I would say I probably have two questions. One would be, what would be like your guys' advice for like a new incoming student? Like for me, I'll be starting in January. So what would your advice be for me, I guess, starting off?
I see Ian has unmuted himself, so go ahead.
So I'll say this. Manage your time. So it's something that takes some learning, especially in an online program. I also wasn't like used to online learning. I went to a small school for undergrad, and we were very much like, you have a teacher standing in front of you or a professor standing in front of you. They know exactly when your assignments due. You know when your assignments due. Everybody knows what everybody's working on. You're very responsible for your own time in this program, and it's really in the best way. At least for me, like what I just learned to do is like take a night or 2 nights and be like, I'm going to commit that, especially working outside of a 9 to 5, I'm going to commit that I'm going to like focus on school this night. And I think it was super helpful for me in getting a rhythm going and a routine going. And that's just part of it's a personal thing. But I would say just time management and learning how to manage your time in this program is a big key as a new student.
That's a good question to make the rounds on too. Taylor, any input for somebody in their first semester going into the program?
Yeah, Ian is 100% correct. Like I said, I had never done online, and I had taken a break from school, so like that was something I was worried about. And like you really gotta, I learned pretty quick. I think Professor Gordon was like my first professor, but I learned, fairly quick, like these are the days I really need to key in on this, like no matter what. Because I still want to watch football on Sunday and not be stressed out about a paper and just little things you didn't really consider. It's not undergrad, and it's not, you're online, you're not in person. So a lot of those excuses go out the window. But also like just, I would say, don't be afraid to reach out to your professors, to your TAs. Like, don't be afraid to ask any questions. That's been super helpful, because I had a situation where I completely wrote a paper opposite of what was asked from me. And if I would have asked that question beforehand, I wouldn't have done that. Would save myself the time. But also with that, this program being flexible and the professors kind of understanding, like, I turned in my assignment on time, just wasn't was asked. So, they were like, hey, do this over for me, do it the right way. Like, we seen you turn this in the right way. Do this over. So just asking questions, like there's no big or small question, I would say.
Okay.
Maggie?
Yeah, I'll just chime in. Just stretch yourself, apply yourself, be the leader on the discussion boards. The platform is user-friendly Canvas, so you get to see like your inbox, all your classmates, shoot them a message, like use them, bounce ideas off of them. But I'm sure you'll do great.
Thank you.
And Jordan?
Yeah, I think just be really open and get the most out of it. You can easily, I see students do it, just kind of do the required work and they do great and they do fine, and then they leave and they don't feel like they've really advanced a ton because they haven't done all the other opportunities that are out there. You have a lot of places you can go get a master's degree from, and an online master's degree. And if you picked KU, that's great. And you should use the opportunities that KU affords, whether it's our alums or our Jayhawkville, our online network of folks, of professors here, the opportunities available, like make the most of that, because that's what really makes us unique. That's what makes us different. And you should really try to take advantage of that as much as possible. I mean, the 3 people on this call, the students I've gotten to know really well through this program and before this program. And that's because they intentionally reached out and got to know their professors and their faculty. And I'm really excited and proud for all of them, what they're doing. And the more students that take those opportunities, the more success stories we have to tell. And it's certainly stuff that we enjoy. And if we have students that are like that, we do everything we can to try and help them be successful. You're certainly not bugging us. I think students feel like you're bugging us. And it's like, no, like I'm sending a bunch of emails I don't want to send all day. I'd much rather talk to you about what your career ambitions are and how I can help you. That's the stuff that gets me fired up. That's what I get excited about. Those are the conversations I'd love to have. So we can never have too many of those.
Okay, thank you.
Lastly, we'll get Brian in.
Well, first off, I guess I need Monday deadlines instead of Sunday for that football watching. So I made that note tonight. Please reach out to your faculty members. I view myself as simply a conduit and somebody that can connect you with people and try and lift you up. And I just want to get you to where you want to go. That's simply it. That's as much as I love it when students reach out early on in the course. A lot of them will want to connect that first week. And I learned so much about their background, their interests, where they think they want to go, or maybe they have no idea in the world where they want to go. And so, just understanding where you're coming from and where you can go and how I can help facilitate that process. I think, the students I remember the most and stay in contact with are ones that are very proactive in their communication. And like Jordan said, that's the best part of my day is when students reach out and we connect and we just have conversations about, where they've been, where they want to go, their professional goals. So just reach out. And also, like Jordan said, it's not rinse and repeat, like get as much out of it as you can. Leverage. We have a lot of resources and you can leverage those to your advantage. And there's plenty of your peers and plenty of alumni that you can see that have had success in this program. And a lot of it's because of their efforts and their proactivity.
Okay.
I know you said you had 2 questions, Hannah. What's the second one?
I would just say a little bit more about the study away programs. How often are those trips available?
Yep, Hannah, I'll answer this. And I actually, we have a potential faculty member on campus that I have to take to dinner here in about 5 minutes. So I'm gonna leave after this. But so study away, study abroad. Right now we go every January. And as Brian has heard me bug everybody about, I really want to add a summer trip as well. And so I'm hopeful that'll happen this year. And we can have, hint, Brian, I'm hoping we can have a January trip and a summer trip that students have the option to go on. I'll probably always be leading the January trip, but I'm deep in the youth club baseball scene with my oldest. So no summer trip for me, but hopefully one of our other faculty will lead one of those trips. But that's something that's a big part of what we do for people that can make it happen. So I'm excited to keep doing that. But it was great to meet everybody. And I'm gonna put my email address here in the chat. If you have any questions, just shoot me a note. I'll be happy to talk to you more.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jordan. Thank you for joining us.
Dr. Bass.
And
Jordan.
we do have a couple of minutes left. So if there's any more questions that anybody has before we duck out, I know we've lost Dr. Bass. Andrew, it looks like you got your hand up.
Yes, sir. If anyone can answer it, that would be great. I think it might be more geared towards Miss Bowen. I understand that you got your master's while you were employed at Kansas. Is that correct? So that kind of relates to my question. Are online students eligible to apply for graduate assistantships? Obviously they would have to live in Lawrence, but I'm just curious.
I'm sorry, a graduate assistantship. I'm not sure if I know. Brian, do you? Okay.
I can handle it.
Okay.
Yeah. So graduate assistantships, we do have some students who are in graduate assistantships. As far as how you would acquire one of those, you'd have to reach out to the department that was offering it. So we do have students that are going through it. It's just something that you'd have to kind of acquire kind of outside of our help kind of. So as far as in admissions.
Yes, sir.
And Andrew, I'll chime in there on that as well. Feel free to reach out to me. I see as a lot of those GTA positions GA positions come available. We always advertise those in our kind of weekly newsletters that we do to our students, but it's very separate. It's a separate process from our program.
Yes, sir.
So what happens a lot of times is you'll, if it's in event operations, if it's in marketing, if it's in fundraising, you'll apply for those through athletics. And then at that point, you'll select the degree program that you want to apply to. And of course, that degree program would be ours.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I just didn't know if, because it was a wholly online program, I know in my during my undergrad, you could not be a GA in anything if you weren't doing classes on campus. So that's the only reason why I asked.
No, we have a lot of we've had a lot of students that worked as NGA positions in KU athletics and then did our masters online. So
Okay.
definitely not an issue.
Thank you.
A lot of GAs, a lot of student athletes in these programs as well. We got 5 minutes left, so speak now or forever hold your peace. I know you guys all had a really great opportunity here to speak with really experts on the program. Normally, you guys just get to speak with Bryson and me, and we're all right. But these straight from the horse's mouth here. Any questions? Hannah, you look like you're looking at your paper like you got another question.
We pretty much, I mean, I wrote some down, but I mean, I feel like we went over pretty much everything I had questions over. I'm sure more will come up at some point, but.
Perfect. Maddie, any questions before we let everybody go here?
I don't think so right now. I think you answered a lot of the questions that I had. So yeah, thank you.
Excellent. And Andrew, you've come with a lot of great questions. Any final questions before we let everybody go?
No, sir. I just appreciate everyone's time, and I also appreciate everyone putting up with my lot of questions. So
Keep them coming. Keep them coming, and call me anytime, Andrew. You know, I'll call you. One thing that I find interesting is just looking at the course descriptions, especially wanting to get into sports myself for a long time. So I kind of want to ask you guys, what's your favorite course or some of your favorite courses, and why?
So I really like the sports finance course. It's probably partially because of my background. I used to work as an accountant in a past life. But one of the really cool things that we got to do in that one was you got to do a breakdown on an NBA team's salary cap situation and learn all about that stuff, which was super interesting to me. And then a lot of other stuff just with like budgeting in the sports world and some of the things that you need to take into account. So for sure, for me, that's been my favorite so far.
I think, man, I really enjoy. I'm in the sports law class right now. I'm really enjoying that one. It's one I was looking forward to. Sports sponsorship was really cool. You got to do a lot of creative, innovative things. Sports marketing also got to do a lot of cool and innovative things. So every class really has something. I never had like a dull moment. There was never a class I really dreaded once we got into them, which was a good thing. But you know, they all give you a lot of flexibility to be creative and to do some really cool stuff. So I enjoy most of them for the most part.
Just my like personal taste. I enjoyed the fundraising class. It touched on youth sports fundraising of how they can get their funds, high school sports, and then my favorite unit was just the collegiate sports fundraising, and that's what I'm in, just my day-to-day stuff. And then that is something that it would interest me going forward with a different career path if I ever leave operations. So
I've heard great things about Brian Gordon's course as well. But with that, if we don't have a lot more questions, we are kind of at time here. For any of our guests today, if you have more questions, we'd be happy to get them to where they need to be to get answered. Whether it's us, and I'm digging the shirt, Andrew. I didn't see that before, but yeah, we are. Thank you so much to all of our panelists as well. Both having been students in the program, your guys' input is incredible. Helps show kind of what's special about the program, and it's you guys as well as the faculty. Anything final to add, Bryson?
No, you covered it. Rock chalk.
Rock chalk. Thank you guys all so much. Have a great night.